Yo, this is Mega Ran, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. Mega Man Fan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace!
Hey, it's Mr. Mega Man Fan, and you got the Retro Hunting Adventures. Thanks to Mega Ran for that introduction, and thanks to Ben's Game Zone for the 5 GameCube games that I just picked up, starting with Dinotopia. Now, I didn't even realize it, but Dinotopia is a franchise. It's a series of illustrated fantasy books created by James Gurney, set in the titular Dinotopia. If that sounds like a play on the words dinosaur and utopia, you'd be right, because in Dinotopia, humans and sapient dinosaurs have learned to coexist. I'm not sure that really would work, but it's the premise of this series of books, so we'll just take their word for it and ignore all the Jurassic World films that I've ever seen. And this video game came out smack dab in the middle of all of those different movies. They probably thought that licensing Dinotopia and making games out of it would be a good way to cash in on the popularity of the Jurassic World franchise and of dinosaurs in general. The first one was on PC in 1995. A second game called the Dinosaur Land Activity Center was released in 2002. Then you had the Time Stone Pirates on Game Boy Advance a year before Dinotopia, The Sunstone Odyssey from 2003. I had never seen nor heard of Dinotopia for GameCube before I saw it at Ben's Game Zone, but turns out it also came out on Xbox around the same time. The North American release of the GameCube version was July 23rd, the Xbox North American release was August 5th, and in PAL territories they also got a version on Xbox, but not on GameCube. Theirs came out April 16th, 2004. Scores are middling at best for this game, 53% out of 100 according to Game Rankings for the Cube version, 47% for Xbox. So below 50% or just slightly above 50% in pretty much every review on either version, getting down as far as 3.25 out of 10 on Xbox. And based on what I'm seeing here, I can see why. It seems to be a very standard third-person game with one stick controlling your movement and the other controlling the camera, and some basic melee attacks, and a plot that's really annoying and cutscenes that are hard to skip through. I can't call this one a winner, but I'm glad I picked it up just the same. Next up, we have MLB Slugfest 2003, part of the MLB Slugfest series by Midway Games. Now, if you've seen a video from Pat and Ian on the CU podcast recently talking about a Midway game that was being developed in the 90s called Power Play Baseball that got tested in a few locations but never saw commercial distribution, this feels very much like the same idea behind Power Play Baseball. Except, I guess, a decade later, they finally got it right. They figured out how to do NBA Jam as a baseball game. It's very simplified and very fast-moving. You have, of course, pitching and hitting for each side, but those controls are also simplified. It's very arcade, for lack of a better word. You just pitch and hit. In fact, in the character selection screen, you even see the same Midway logos where you can dial up like the big head mode and those kind of things that you would do in NBA Jam. So it all feels like it's almost carbon copied from that template. The only thing that I can really say negative about MLB Slugfest from having played it is there's a stand-up comedian doing one half of the announcing, and he's got a really annoying, obnoxious voice, like, "Hey, I'm a funny guy, listen to me. Hey, I'll talk about bagels and raisins and pizza, and oh, that guy isn't allowed in the stadium because he got banned for bad behavior." It's like, no, dude, shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you. So I need to go into the options and see if there's a way to mute that guy. I think his name is Jimmy or something. But other than that, the MLB Slugfest games are a fun series of games to play. I recommend them. They came out on a variety of consoles, not just GameCube. PS2, Xbox. There were 4 games in total that I can think of: MLB Slugfest 2003, 2004, and 2006. And let me see here. Oh, the stand up comedian, I found his name. It's Kevin Matthews, and he's the one doing a character named Jimmy Shorts. So, Kevin, no disrespect, but I'm not a big fan of your Jimmy Shorts character. You could have left that one on the drawing board. But yes, I'd say check out MLB Slugfest if you find it at ye local game store like I did at Ben's Game Zone. And it shouldn't set you back too much in the way of cost, because none of the games that I picked up were more than $20, and MLB Slugfest 2003 averages for complete inbox, like my copy, 11.23, a very reasonably priced GameCube game. Our next batter up, pun definitely intended, is Archer McLean's Pool Paradise. The same Archer McLean who created the retro classic game Drop Zone back in 1984, which coincidentally is a hidden unlockable in this game. Now, my favorite Archer McLean designed game is Mercury, a game that I played on PlayStation Portable where you move around a little liquid ball that's essentially like a ball of mercury, except obviously you're not going to get poisoned by absorbing it through your skin because it's just inside your window of playfield. And you try to keep it in one cohesive blob, but because it's liquidy metal, it tends to pull apart if you tilt one way or the other too much, and you've got to get all of the pieces back together and keep it in one cohesive whole as you move around the levels. Now, sadly, Pool Paradise has none of that. This is just a pool game. You have a literal pool shark who fronts you money to play against pool hustlers, and the one I'm playing is, for some reason, disembodied. He's only got 2 hands and a pool cue. I'm not sure if that's normal for this game or not because I've never played it before, but I'll assume that was a design choice. This game was endorsed by professional pool player Jimmy White, and Archer McLean designed a lot of pool games that feature Jimmy White, so that is also no surprise. This game got fairly good reviews when it came out in April of 2004. 76 out of 100 is the aggregate score at Metacritic, with some going as high as 7.6 out of 10, 80% from BBC Sport. I think they've got a little bias for Archer McLean there, but who am I to judge? And the PlayStation 2 version also got good reviews, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, so on and so forth. So if you like pool games, you might want to give this one a shot. I think I like 8-bit pool or 16-bit pool games a little bit more than this. It almost feels like they're trying too hard to use the third dimension, whereas I think just a top-down view of the table and lining up your shot with just a couple of buttons is easier than this, but what do I know? I'm not a pool hustler. At least it's a fairly inexpensive title if you're looking to pick up a pool game for GameCube. A complete in-box copy should only set you back $8 unless it's severely overpriced. Next on the list is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon 2. Every time I seem to think that I have gotten every Tom Clancy game available for GameCube, I turn up one more. They just come out of the woodwork. This one caught me by surprise when I was at Ben's, but once I saw it and checked my list and saw that I didn't have it, it was something I had to pick up. The load times in this game feel excessive to me. Maybe they're normal for Tom Clancy games on GameCube, but frig, man, it just makes me want to compare it to a PS2 or an Xbox version of the same game and see if they're as long, because it feels pretty long to me. This game goes for $11.50 complete, so again, a fairly affordable GameCube game, not at the higher end of the range. And if you've played any of the Ghost Recon or Tom Clancy war-based games, you should already be familiar with what's going on. You have to fight your way through hostile enemy territory and shoot the bad guys and protect your teammates and do all the things that a war game makes you do. They are very much in the same wheelhouse, one and all. There's not a whole lot of variation. Reviews for this version are the lowest of any platform, so I may not be wrong about thinking these load times are excessive. 82% for Xbox, 63% for PS2, 48% on GameCube. Metacritic is pretty close to game rankings, 80 out of 100, 58 out of 100, and 54 out of 100, so the GameCube version gets the lowest scores each and every time. And apparently the North Korean government was very critical of this game in particular. Why they would care this much more about this game as opposed to any other Tom Clancy game, I can only think it's because it's based in North Korea in 2007, but it's all fantasy and fiction, and if they're taking it more seriously than anybody playing it, I kind of think that's their problem. Last up on our list today is Freestyle Metal X, which sadly I'm going to have to cut off before the actual gameplay footage kicks in because the metal part is not a misnomer. This game actually features licensed heavy metal music, and the very first level I played featured the song Ace of Spades by Motorhead, so rest in peace to the late Lemmy Kilmister. But if you're looking for a freestyle motorcycle racing game where you do tricks and wheelies and jump off of ramps and kick around all sorts of obstacles and blow through fences, this is the game for you. It's a fun motorcycle, rock out with your blank out type of game where you just have fun going crazy on two wheels. I'm Mr. Mega Man Fan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.